right, are we ready?
Give me 1 second. We're coming up now, I believe. I don't know if I'm live. Okay, I believe I'm live. Yep, we're live on Facebook.
All right, well, good afternoon.
I'm sorry for being technology challenged, but
That's all right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this April 6th meeting of the Garrett County Commissioners, cyber version here today as we're socially distancing. We want to welcome everybody that's able to tune in and hope everybody out there is staying safe and their families and loved ones are safe as well. We're going to get right into the agenda. Mr. Knoll, do we have any additions, or changes, or deletions to the public meeting agenda?
yes, sir, there will be two today. One, we're going to add the appointment to the Commissioner of Women, and secondly, a accommodation tax deferral program.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So move.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and second. The agenda as amended is approved. Consent. Everybody got a copy of the minutes and everything in advance of the meeting. Are there any questions on that? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. The minutes are approved by mutual consent. The first item on the agenda is a contract to sale, the purchase of property for the Garrett County Emergency Operations Center, the EOC. Finally, we've been talking about this for a long time. Mr. Knoll, you want to give a brief synopsis of this?
Yes, sir. So this is the purchase of property at 2 Outfitters Way in McHenry. It's currently operated as a hardware store. It's Browning's Hardware. This is a 10,746 square foot building that we plan to convert to the Emergency Operations Center. This price is $999,060, and the appraisal is based on 2 certified appraisals that we did receive. This project is funded in part by $800,000 in state bonds that we have procured over the last couple of years. The county has been working on this Emergency Operations Center since at least 2015. We're the only county in the state that does not have an established Emergency Operations Center to handle full-scale activations or backup for the 911 center. Right now, the Emergency Operations Center is housed in a temporary office trailer at the airport. Certainly in times like we're facing today, it's critical that we have resources to plan and respond to emergency situations. And versus this facility will go a long way to housing all of our emergency management activities in one location. We've looked at building our own facility over the years, and we've come up with anywhere from $3.6 to $5.2 million. This purchase will save us several $1 million as we move forward on this project.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Knoll?
Just one comment, kind of a point of clarification. That is, Kevin mentioned $800,000 in state bonds. I think we should make it clear that those are essentially grants to the county from the state. Yes. So yes, there is no repayment of that.
Correct.
Correct. That's a great point. And as Kevin said, initially, we were looking at this costing us about $3 million. So I think this is an excellent price to accomplish something that obviously what we're dealing with today shows the necessity of it. It's in the center of the county. It's next to the fairgrounds. If we need to mobilize and need a big space for that, it's right next to Deep Creek Fire Hall. So we have some synergy there. There's a lot of positives to this all the way around. So if there are no other questions or comments, do we have a motion to accept the agreement for sale to purchase the property in the amount of $999,064 at the building known as Deep Creek Outfitters for the EOC.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is a request for fiscal year 2021 county property tax exemption of charitable property for Catholic Charity Senior Communities Backbone Housing. Mr. Knoll, what do you have for us with that?
Yes, so this is our annual request. This is authorized by the Maryland Tax Code, Section 7502. This is a facility out at Starner Hill in Grantsville.
And this is one that we do year over year over year.
Yes.
Questions on that? I'm hearing none. Do we have a motion to approve the request from Starner Hill and Grantsville?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. We have a second.
Second.
Motion is second. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is one of the amended additions, the appointment to the Commission for Women. Mr. Knoll, what do you have for us?
Okay, these are to fill vacancies for the Commissioner of Women. We have 3 appointments. One of them is a commission appointment, and that is Pamela Trickett. And then there's 2 commissioner appointments, Melita Friend and Juliet Sanders. And these have been recommended and approved by the Commission of Women.
All right. Questions on that?
And any comment I would make is that, of course, they forwarded the resume from all 3 ladies to us, and they seem very well qualified. The resumes are very impressive.
Agreed. Do we have a motion to accept the slate of recommendations for the Commission for Women?
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept. We have a second.
Second.
Motion is second. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Accommodation Tax Deferral Program. Mr. Knoll, what can you explain on that?
Okay, so there has been some discussion about the possibility of a deferral of the accommodation tax program since the rental lodging business had to postpone or defer some of their rentals. This is a small token of a project to help that industry a little bit and deferring their accommodation taxes till later on in the year. So specifically, due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the transient vacation rental unit market, as well as vacation rental market in general, the Board of County Commissioners for Garrett County authorized the following deferrals for any business group or individual who rents vacation property and remits an accommodation tax to Garrett County. Effective immediately, accommodation tax payments may be deferred as follows. For collection date due March of 2020, the normal date is April 21st of 2020. It will now be June 30th of 2020. Collection date due of April 2020 is with a normal collection date of May 21st, 2020, is now deferred until July 31st of 2020. Collection date of May of 2020 with a normal due date of June 21st, 2020 is now deferred to August 31st of 2020. Effectively, the companies may defer the payment of the accommodation tax to the county to those dates.
All right, any questions or comments on that? And before we get into any particulars, let's go ahead and take a motion to adopt that in a second. If it passes, then we can talk maybe a little bit more about the mechanics of it. So do we have a motion to adopt that proposal?
Make a motion to accept it.
We got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Our motion and a second. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion carries. And Kevin, then I guess all of the rental companies will receive a copy of that letter so they're aware of what's going on.
Well, we will send a press release out and send notification to the companies. That's correct.
Okay. All right, moving right along. We do have, we asked Bob Stevens from the Health Department to join us in this meeting. In light of the pandemic that we're dealing with here, you know, the whole world is dealing with, but especially in the United States and Maryland and Garrett County. Bob, thanks for coming, and we appreciate all that you're doing. And if you could just give the people out there a little bit of an update on where we are and anything else of relevance that you see here.
Okay, thank you, commissioners, and I want to thank you for the outstanding leadership that's being shown during this time, and also want to thank the outstanding work of the citizens of Garrett County who have really helped prevent this pandemic from really grabbing much of a foothold here in Garrett County. It's not a matter of if it will impact us, it's when it will impact us. We have 154 people who have taken the test from various providers around the county, and the hospital is the main source of those. I want to indicate that all 154 people would have shown some type of signs and symptoms that could indicate that they have the coronavirus. Of those, 100 have been negative. We have 50 pending, and we've had 4 positive. So that's 2%. Or I'm sorry, that's 4% is what we're seeing as far as those people being tested. And of those 4 people that were positive, they all had traveled outside of the county. So that's what is really outstanding about that, is that Garrett County has not had any indication yet of community transmission. That is just a matter of time, and all the things that are being put in place really help to keep that pandemic from spreading here in rapidly, and that's what we really want to do. We want to kind of hold it back for right now. There's a lot of information that's available on our website, garretthealth.org. It shows you a lot of information from various other groups and organizations, Centers for Disease Control, Maryland Department of Health, Johns Hopkins, and so forth. I did want to give you a little bit of an update of what we have been doing here within the health department. First of all, we're working very closely with the emergency management staff from the county and from some other organizations, and everybody's really pulling together. What we're doing most of our work is we're doing surveillance on those folks who have received the test, trying to give them good information, and then also doing what's called source tracing. And what we're doing with that is trying to find out where that person may have gotten the virus, and then making sure that they're not giving that to other individuals. And so if somebody is tested and it turns out that they're positive, we want a list of all the people they have been in contact with so we can reach out to them and begin to recommend that they isolate and that sort of thing. From our operations standpoint, our staff's been very busy with making sure that all the providers in the community have the proper protection equipment that's needed. We work very closely with the EOC on that. They provide for the Sheriff's Department, the jail, EMS, fire companies, but we make sure that all of our medical providers, nursing homes, long-term care facilities, congregate living, that they have that. We've also been doing that with training, and I think that that's just so important. We've also, with operations, we've been with our hotline, we've been fielding lots of calls, as I think everybody has, a lot of concerned citizens, concerned about businesses things that they're observing that they believe that we should really play a role in safety there. And so we're going out and investigating those cases, contacting folks, and making sure that all the businesses and organizations and groups that are meeting that they are really doing the right thing. And then we also have a lot of business owners, and I'm sure that you've heard a lot of that too, calling in and trying to find out if they're allowed to operate or not, and what kind of things they need to do in order to protect themselves, their customers, and their employees. So in the very near future, we're looking at volunteers, how to take donations, deal with the surge. What a surge is when we do have a number of people that end up using the resources here in Garrett County, for instance, in the emergency room and the ICU, making sure that there are services that are not overloaded. And that's a very complicated thing. But I have to shout out to the hospital that they're doing a great job. The other thing, just today, I went back and I looked at how many governor's orders he's had in the last month. 11. I can't remember it. Really, only one other executive order that he really got out of it that at least impacted the health department in the entire time that Governor Hogan has been the governor, and he's had 11 in the last month. So they've been very busy. The last thing that he did yesterday was he delegated authority to health officers, and that's it, in order to make sure that our retail businesses are doing the right thing, those essential businesses that remain open. And we're getting out a letter to all those retail businesses, making sure that they are doing the right thing, providing social distancing, taking care of their customers. And that letter also, I will say, that we will be following up with that. And when we receive complaints, we'll go in, do an inspection, help that business to do the right thing to continue to operate. And if they don't operate, then it is possible and probable that we would close them down if they do not cooperate. And so we hope that never happens. We have really great responsible business owners. The other thing that I would just say is that nursing homes, an executive order yesterday about to really protect their residents. And we're very, very concerned for our nursing homes. I think over 80 nursing homes in the state of Maryland have had infections, COVID-19 infections that have been in their nursing homes. And that's a very fragile group of individuals. And so we've been very happy that with the hard work of our nursing homes in Garrett County, they have not had any reported infection. So that's the way we want to keep that. So that's what I have for you. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Bob?
I just maybe take the opportunity to make a comment that I'm very impressed and certainly pleased with how you guys are handling all this, and appreciate the personal effort you're putting into it, but also for your staff. I mean, it seems there's a lot of communication and a lot of cooperation going on, and you've been very responsive to requests from people, whether it's renters or stores or whatever it might be. So just thanks very much for what you all are doing there.
Thank you. I'll pass that along to our staff, but it is very much a team effort. We have some really highly talented and amazing staff that are very hardworking, and they care deeply for the community.
Well,
I would echo those sentiments.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
no, I was just going to say, I know we all feel that way. I just happened to say it before anybody else had a chance to say it, but I know we're all thinking the same thing. I know we're all very proud of the way all the different agencies in Garrett County have pulled together to address this.
Yep, we greatly appreciate everything, Bob, and thanks for taking the time tonight. I know you're extremely busy right now, from sun up to sundown with all the things that are going on. So we appreciate you taking the time to come out and share some information with us.
Thank you.
All right, well, if there's no other questions for Bob, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which I've lost my agenda for the second.
Economic update.
Emergency management. Kevin, what do you got for us there?
Yeah, so first off, I know Bob has another conference call. So Bob, if you need to sign off, please go ahead and I can catch up with you later if you need to reach me. Okay, so emergency management, just to follow up on Bob. So the Emergency Operations Center has been up since the 15th or 16th, providing coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have folks in the center and the phones are manned at all times. Our call volume has been fairly light. We're getting the same kind of calls that Health Department have been getting. But we are here to support the healthcare agencies in the community and providing resources. So for example, all request for personal protective equipment is funneled through our EOC downstate and comes back up. So our folks are on top of it, and we have a good communications with the health department, the hospital, and the county. So the folks have really stood up and doing a great job with the operations there. So I want to thank them.
Excellent. Any questions about the EOC or emergency operations? How about economic development?
Just a brief update for Mike Huff and his group. As you may imagine, they've been spending a lot of time trying to wade through all the various federal programs that have been recently announced, providing information on our website, links to the programs and state programs. They did recently announce last week the $200,000 emergency pandemic loan fund that was created with the county and the Garrett County Development Corp. That's providing up to $5,000 in loans to no interest loans to qualifying small businesses. So that is out there and is available on our website. They also created a website specifically for the COVID-19 information, and that can be found at www.gcedonline.com. And all the links to the various federal programs are there, as well as what's happening in the county. They're also reaching out to the business community, trying to figure out, trying to determine what we may be able to do to help them, what resources they may need, what supplies we may be able to do to help them. And they've also been in touch with all municipalities to do the same thing. So they've been busy trying to reach out to the business community and seeing what support the county can provide to them. That's all I have on that.
All right, any questions or comments on that? All right, well, that actually brings us to the conclusion of our meeting in the agenda. The next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, April the 21st. Our hope would be that we'll be back at the courthouse on that date, but I think that looks probably not realistic at this point, in which case we'll utilize social media again. Check the website just to make sure. If we don't have any agenda items, we probably won't have a meeting, but check our website to make sure for that. And as we said, I know Jim and Larry and Kevin and I and everyone at Garrett County Government just like to reiterate that we hope everybody out there is staying safe and that their families and loved ones are doing the same. Easter coming up, please enjoy the holiday the best that you can. And we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, before we do that, I always have a comment. So
Sure. Go right ahead, sir.
I just want to publicly thank and commend you and Kevin for the leadership that you've shown during this crisis. I mean, I know you're both putting in a lot of extra time. I know that you are getting most of the calls and that's probably appropriate. You know, as you and I talked, you can't have two quarterbacks, you can't have two people running things. So I'm just impressed with the job you've done. And I know you're putting a lot of effort into it, your heart's into it, a lot of hard work, a lot of extra hours. And I feel really, really good about the way this is being managed in Garrett County. Thanks largely to you and Kevin, not just you and Kevin, a lot of other people too, but from our perspective, you guys, Larry and I have talked about this. We both are very pleased with the job you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and Kevin and Paul both are just putting in tremendous amount of time with this. And, you know, Jim and I both appreciate that. And we just thank you very much.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate that.
Yep, and thank you. And I would like to add, you know, most county government is continuing. We're providing almost every service we provide. We're providing it remotely. We do have some folks out in the field, especially when I thank our first responders and law enforcement are being out there, but we're providing all of our services. And it's only because we have a good team in place that we're able to do that. So I'm very proud of everybody we have. So thank you.
Yeah. Now, are you ready for a motion to adjourn?
I am.
So move.
All right. That concludes our meeting, and thank you all very much, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Happy Easter, everyone.